Let's bring in now our panel to talk about all of these fast-moving developments. Former NSC Chief of Staff and former CIA analyst, senior fellow at the America First Policy Institute, Fred Fleitz, with us. And he's the former executive director at Iranian Americans for Liberty, the CEO of Henry Public Relations, Bryan Leib. Gentlemen, good to see you both. I want to start with you, Fred, on the developments happening here. Obviously, President Trump, the backdrop of what is a really beautiful presidential library, now forced to deal with some of this breaking news. The helicopter and emergency water landing details are somewhat limited. But what do you make of what we know so far and how quickly you think they can get to that fourth missing crew member?
I don't know the specifics of that, and we can't jump to the conclusion that this helicopter was necessarily shot down. Helicopters are complex machines. Sometimes something goes wrong, but it does worry me given that Iran has consistently violated the ceasefire almost every day until last weekend, and that was in response to U.S. counterattacks, that it decided to violate the ceasefire again. I'm very worried about that. President Trump does not want to revert to all-out warfare, but if Iran shot at a U.S. helicopter, there's going to be an enormous U.S. response.
Yeah, and right now, again, to be clear, that's right. There is no indication that it was hostile fire, but the search for the fourth member of this MH-60S Seahawk helicopter is ongoing, of course. We pray for a safe recovery. We know the other three members have been rescued. So as we await details on that, let's talk about the new assassination rhetoric coming in, Bryan. Not surprising here. We all remember the animated video in 2022. It was frightening because someone actually tried to carry it out. This was the Iranian, Palm Beach Trump International. And now we're back to this, including also Netanyahu. Your reaction to where we are today, especially with the conditions in the Strait as they are, fragile ceasefire still holding.
Yeah, Bianca, thanks for having me. I think it's a really good opportunity to tell the audience and tell the world that there is no difference between this new regime, old regime. And why do I say that? Well, you have these clerics coming out threatening to kill President Trump, threatening to kill Prime Minister Netanyahu. These new regime people that we keep hearing people talk about, and these moderates that are inside of this new regime, have any of them come out and condemned their own clerics for calling for the assassination of the 47th president of the United States? And the answer to that question is no, they haven't, and they're not going to. Why? Because they're all the same. That's my belief. So it's going to be a lot more rhetoric like this from these people until President Trump probably does what needs to be done at this point.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to get your thought on that, Fred, because we know in the past few days, President Trump reportedly briefed on options on resuming military action with Iran, potentially even large-scale strikes. So far, he's choosing to continue diplomatic talks. A little bit of the president's recent comments and your reaction on the flip.
So Iran's ruling
come a long way. We hit them very hard last week. I think they're fine. I think we're going to. It's the denuclearization of Iran. It's very simple.
All right. So there you have it. But there was this report that Oman and Iran were talking about how to reinstitute tolls in the Strait of Hormuz. So is diplomacy working still at this point when you hear chatter like that?
Well, look. So Iran's ruling councils, a large number of its members call for the assassination of Trump and Netanyahu. Is it any wonder that Trump doesn't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon? How much more evidence do we have to get? This is not a peace-loving state. It can't have nuclear weapons. Trump was exactly right. He shut this program down for at least 10 years. I think much longer. It was the right thing to do. He knew there'd be blowback. He knew it would be difficult. Now we're struggling to try to find an end to this war because it's run by fanatics. It's fighting with themselves. And it's a difficult challenge. But look, Trump didn't take the easy way out. He didn't kick this down the road like most presidents do. I think he'll try to find a way to end this war. He doesn't want to return to total combat. But if the Iranians force him to, Trump will do it.
Yeah, and you have to wonder how much patience he's going to have. Let's put this up, Bryan. Iran's Foreign Minister Araghchi is claiming that the MOU commits President Trump to restraining Israel from threats against Iran, saying any threat against our people and leadership will receive immediate, powerful response. So just like that, trying to justify tactics like this and obviously trying to let the Strait be sort of a mess, even though we know that President Trump, as Fred just said, is ready, willing, and able to resume military power if he needs to.
Yeah, listen, they're trying to hold on to anything possible right now, and that's why you see the Iranian foreign minister and the IRGC trying to get involved with what's happening in Iraq, what's happening in Lebanon, what's happening outside of their borders, because they're losing control. I mean, in the last 24, 48 hours, Bianca, dozens of Iraqi politicians have been arrested, and hundreds of millions of dollars in cash has been confiscated because of their direct connections to the IRGC. So I think, at this point, really, the IRGC and the ruling clerics are really, they're unraveling at this point. I mean, they don't really have too much left except a lot of bluster and a lot of rhetoric. And I really give President Trump so much credit for all this diplomacy. He has, to your point, a lot of patience to keep going with these people. I think, honestly, though, I think he's going to run out of patience pretty soon.
Yeah. Hard to see where it goes. I mean, we're coming into now America 250 and waiting more comments in about an hour or even under, Fred. So how does President Trump, you think, continue to celebrate what's great in our nation? Obviously, some beautiful sentiments today and will be in the next few days, knowing, though, in the back of his mind, this all may need to be restarted potentially.
He's not going to be distracted. He's going to celebrate our America's 250th birthday. I was at the Great America State Fair on the Mall. It's fabulous. I'm writing an article on this in American Greatness on Friday. If the Iranians attacked an American helicopter, that's going to change his message. But otherwise, the negotiations are continuing. The working level groups, Witkoff and Kushner, are in Qatar right now for indirect talks with the Iranians. I don't know whether this is going to succeed. I share Bryan's skepticism, but for now, negotiations are continuing.
And so do the moments of patriotism here for our great nation as well. Good to see you both, Fred, Bryan. Come back soon, okay?
Good to be here.
Yeah, thanks to have you.